my dear students, in this video we are going to continue with lesson 4, the Bahmani and Vijayanagara Empire, Bahmani and Vijayanagara Kingdom. In the first video we discussed about the Bahmani Kingdom and the Mahmud Gawan. Here we learned about the important Bahmani rulers and the capital of Bahmani Kingdom. And today I am going to teach you about what was the social conditions and economic conditions in the Bahmani Kingdom. Okay. Social condition means the people, those who lived in that kingdom, they were in three classes. The first class, that means upper class, they lived a luxurious life and they were called nobles. The society was divided into three classes: upper class, middle class and lower class. So upper class means the nobles. They lived a very luxurious life. And the middle class people, they were mainly Hindus and they were merchants. And the lower people, lower caste people or the poor people, they called common people. Okay, so this was the division of the society on those days. And the Bahmani kingdom had a mixed population. That means Hindus were there, Muslims were there, and Portuguese traders also were there. And especially the Muslims of the Shia, from the Muslims, the Shia sect from the Iran, Iraq, Abyssinia had been arrived in Deccan, and the Portuguese came in these regions in the early 16th century, and the Abyssinians were referred to as Habshis. And actually these people, they were originally slaves who rose to prominence as bodyguards. In the Bahmani kingdom, they held important posts such as governors and divans, and even they participated in court intrigues and due cause become virtual rulers. Okay, and what was the position of women? The position of women, that means the women, they were considered subordinate to men, and Parda system, polygamy also prevailed. About Parda system and polygamy, we discussed these two terms in our first video. If you have any doubt about this system, you please see once again that video and it will be clear for you. Okay, so the women, they were subordinate to men and the Parda system and polygamy was prevailed. Anyway, the women, they got or they held a position of respect in the society. So, and next one, what was the economic condition in the Bahmani kingdom? How they collected the money and how they spent the money for the people. A lot of information about the economic condition. We will get the information. How was the economic condition? So, this information we will get from the writings of Nikitin. He was a scholar and he was a Russian traveler to the Deccan in the 15th century. From his writing, we will get information about the economic conditions in the Bahmani kingdom. And at the time of Mahmud Gawan, he started a systematic measurement of land and for the purpose of fixing land revenue. Mahmud Gawan, he started to measure land for the purpose of fixing land revenue, and he ensured a steady flow of income and checked corruption among the nobles. And on those days, Dabul, it was an important port, and trade contact with Indian as well as the African ports. Trade and commerce flourished in this period, and most of merchants, they were Hindus, and horses, clothes, silk and pepper was the most important items of the trade. And horses were imported from Arabia, Persia and Central Asia. Okay, and next, what was the important contributions of Bahmani kingdom? Contributions of Bahmani kingdom. The Bahmani rulers patronized literature, music, art and architecture. They give more importance for music, art and architecture, and they invited Indian and foreign scholars to their court. And in these days, Urdu language, it developed or flourished under their rule, and the Deccan became a rich cultural center. The Bahmani rulers, they built many forts, palaces, mosques and tombs, and their architecture was influenced by Indian, Persian, Egyptian and Turkish style. And the Juma Masjid of Gulbarga and Muhammad Gawan's Madrasa in Bidar are the two most remarkable, important monuments of the Bahmani kingdom. Okay. So once again, I will summarize you what we have learned in this video. In the first introduction part, we discussed about Bahmani kingdom. Hassan, an officer of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, took the title Alauddin Bahman Shah, and he established the Bahmani kingdom, and he made Gulbarga as his capital, and he controlled the rebellious nobles and established peace. And at the same time, he divided his kingdom as four provinces, namely Gulbarga, Daulatabad, Birar, and Bidar. And next, each provinces, it was under the control of a governor, and the governor, he should maintain an army, and he could take his own decisions in civil and military matters. Altogether, 18 Bahmani rulers ruled Bahmani kingdom, and they had constantly fight against the rulers of neighboring Vijayanagar. Okay, and next we discussed about a prominent important ruler, that is Mahmud Gawan. He was an able and royal minister of the 13th Bahmani ruler who ruled from 1463 to 1482. He defeated many places, Kongan, Orissa, Warangal, etc. And he captured Goa from Vijayanagar. After the capturing of Goa, trade became prosperous. Overseas trade with Iran and Iraq, it was prospered. And next, social conditions in the Bahmani kingdom. It was a mixed population. Hindus, Muslims, and Portuguese traders also were lived together, and the society was divided into three classes: upper class, middle class, and lower classes. The upper class people called nobles, and they were led a luxurious life. Middle class people also were there; they were merchants, and mainly they were Hindus. And the last last class was poor people. They called as common people. And women, they were subordinate to men. Parda system and polygamy was prevailed on those days. Anyway, women, they got respect in the society. And next we discussed about economic conditions in the Bahmani kingdom. We will get many information from the writings of Nikidin about the economic conditions. Nikidin was a Russian traveler to the Deccan in the 15th century. And his time, trade flourished. Country also developed in many ways. And they give more importance for literature, music, art, and architecture. They invited many people from another country for, or they invited both Indian and foreign scholars to their courts. And this time, the Urdu language flourished, and Deccan became the rich cultural center on the at the time of Bahmani rulers. And the Bahmani rulers, they built many forts, palaces, mosques, and tombs. And architecture was influenced by Indian, Persian, Egyptian, and Turkish style. Okay, so this much is enough for today. All of you, please read up to here. If you have any doubt, you can ask through the comments.